the arrows?
I think so.
Okay.
So we're ready when you are, Matt.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll just start. My idea is taking from the rich and giving straight to the poor. Because we are living in a world where society stares down upon those of less power and wealth. Whether we like it or not, it's happening all around us. The people at the top are getting represented for true importance. The reason behind the idea is basically giving the homeless guys the opportunity to put, I want to say money, but it's not money, it's still effort and whatever, work, I suppose, back into the charity which is for them. So it's pretty unheard of, really. These are some ideas of what I wanted to do. Have the have an image what I've created, and then set about, give loads of printouts to homeless guys and sort of say, oh, I'll be back in a bit with some food and I can fund all the food and stuff, that's fine. And go back a few hours later and hopefully like get back the collaborative pieces, and then, well, yeah, then hopefully bind them and create a very nice high-end art book to be sold to the rich people with 100% of all the money going back to Stone Pillow. Yeah, obviously target audience are wealthier people. Because they are the people which buy art. And this is some of my inspiration. That's a piece I've created, and then the black areas where like I would sort of like I'm hinting, like I've done the typography. If life was, I'm sort of dropping a hint for them to finish it maybe, or I don't know. And do I feel? And yeah, that's all the illegal stuff, and yeah, that's all pretty obvious. And these are designs I've created so far. But I'm still not too sure if I'm going to use them, because I think I want to keep a very solid style. I think some of them aren't the same style, or don't necessarily match up. And that's where my book will end. Thank you for your time. Do you have any questions?
Putting questions out.
I think this is an honest concept. What it seems to me is, actually, we're not trying to break through stigmas, we're not trying to break through stereotypes, we're not trying to educate people. What we're doing is taking money to help.
Yeah.
That's it.
That is
and that's quite refreshing. I love the idea that I think that's such, a target audience, the people who want a nice coffee table book for 30 quid and can flick through it and go, yeah, we're helping the homeless, exactly that. So I think it's a really good concept. The thing I would say to be careful of, and this is where, this is just such a small thing, but if you're having access or you want access to people who are homeless, then they're not, and I'm saying this not because that's what you think, but what may come across, maybe if you work in that field, is that people aren't necessarily performing monkeys.
Yes.
So
I know.
so poetry is great, and people are very keen on that. What I wouldn't want to come across as, here, do smart and I'll give you some food because you're homeless.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
or have a fag as long as you do this for me. And it's and that cannot come across. And I'm sure that's not where your brain is at, but that's what could come across unless you think about how you're going to get into that.
That's a risk which...
A big risk.
Yeah, somebody could turn around to me and say, oh, well, you know, whatever, but I'm pretty sure I'll be well prepared, like language-wise, what to say back to them if they thought that was my reason for doing it or whatever. But I just think there's not many charities where they're being given the opportunity to put back into their own charity. It's like a cycle.
No, and I think that's a great way. So what you'd need to do is, if you're looking at Bognor and Chichester, then use an organisation like us, and if you're looking at Brighton, then Brighton Housing Trust, to say, what's my in here? How are you gonna, you know, because if you turn up young guy and go, right, this is what we're gonna do, and I can give it all that. You know, homeless people are homeless people are homeless people. They're the same as everyone else, and they're individual. So one homeless person might be 17 and fleeing domestic violence. Another one might be 60 and has been in the Navy for 40 years. So the way you speak and the way you approach to people is going to be very different as individual. So you'd use that local knowledge as an in. That's what
I think it does need serious on the ground research.
Yeah,
you know, as a kind of journalistic piece of work, in a sense. You know, I think, you know, I can think of artists that have done that. They spend a lot of time investigating, exploring, getting to know. You know, Nan Goldin, photographer, for example. Those kind of people who kind of are exploring the fringe, the minorities, and things like that. Take a lot of time to get in there. And it's quite difficult. I've got a kind of a question as well, though. Go on.
I was going to say, you know, just following on that, for one idea would be, I've come across people before, and when I've done interviews for people who want to work in day centres, and I've said, you know, what's your experience of working with homeless people? And it doesn't bother me if they say none, but I've got common sense, and this is my approach. But what some will say is, oh, well, you know, always I chat to the same homeless guy every day, and I buy him a sandwich and stuff like that. That's totally different. Now, what I would say is, if you wanted to get into it, come and volunteer at our day centre and work as a project worker, and that's how you get to know people, not through, this is me and this is what I'm doing and that's you.
Yeah.
It's actually about being part of that service and seeing it even for a few days.
I actually considered that, and I thought that it might come across as a bit too, what's the word, what we were sort of saying, it would come across as if I was to go there, because I feel if I was put in a room with the homeless people and sort of made up to do it that way, I wouldn't be able to perform. But if I was out, I could take my skates and I could just wrap it all in my bag and I could bomb across town and I could sort of explain to them on the street. I think would be a lot better for me as a person as well. But
it would be more organic that way.
I understand exactly what you're saying, but I think they might see it as a bit patronising.
I don't, and maybe I didn't come across right. I think if you go out on the street, people will be thinking, do you know what, mate, I don't even know where I'm going to be sleeping tonight, let alone wanting to hang out and do stuff. I think when I said volunteering, I didn't mean necessarily come in and present this straight away. I mean getting in the kitchen and helping to make breakfast with our volunteers and you know, just sitting around chatting with the guys and facilitating meetings and actually doing the job as a project worker.
How quickly can that take place?
Well, as long as your CRB checked and there's nothing dodgy on there, then then we can.
But
that would be more organic because you'd be going in. We have volunteers coming in to help. We have volunteers to come in and make tea, coffee, dinner. We have volunteers running mental health groups.
Make a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's it. It's actually just getting to know people in their own environment, rather than people being very sceptical on the streets or trying to take advantage of you, or you putting yourself in danger by doing that. That's what I meant. Sorry, not going in.
No, I understand.
So that's one critical kind of perspective. I think the second part is, and I love this, you know, high end. This is where the book's going to be, and it's honest. Like I'm not trying to change people's thinking. I just want to take their money off them. Straight up. Yeah, but in a way, you could. I think that's an interesting negative advertising. You know the kind of I hate Marmite advertising thing. It's really,
spoke about guerrilla tactics.
it's really powerful. Yeah, the kind of negative advertising.
Yeah.
Any publicity is better than no publicity.
Definitely.
But also, there's going to be a lot of people that go, they really like the idea. Oh, they're actually just trying to take my money off me. So I'm going to participate in it. You know, you could generate a lot of publicity, which if you on the cover just went, I'm going to take your money off you. Boom, really large. That could be a part of the marketing campaign.
I don't know. It could have that. That's the thing. The people who are buying it, they won't get the message, whatever was written on the front.
No, I think they get that message.
Or
that
if you put
they know where the money's going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they'd understand that. But what did you?
But
mean
that
as in,
wasn't
like,
put across in your PowerPoint.
I know.
Or something like secretly want to do something about homelessness but don't want to admit the fact there is a problem. Buy this.
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah.
Or live
Exactly,
in ignorant
yeah,
bliss.
Yeah.
And just give us your cash.
Ignorant
You
bliss,
keep
yeah.
pretending it's not happening, just give your money and it will go away.
It kind of needs that. People actually like that because then they feel they are clever because they're in it. They know
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know.
Definitely.
Oh, that's not quite me. You know. I'm not the ignorant person. You know, if you've got the book, you're like, yeah, it's on my coffee table. Look, I'm not ignorant. You know, I'm part of this. So I think that would be really good. There's a third question though, and that is the distribution question.
Yeah, I actually just want to make two, one for myself and one to sell for about. Well, I said a £5 on there, but now I want to change that. I want to make it a hardback and really like nicely presented, and hopefully sell it for about sort of £15 to £20, and just is that like okay to do that? Or?
That's okay in terms of the marking criteria, but I think we could do a lot more. How many coffee tables do we want to get this on?
It's just funding. I don't know who to sort of turn around to and say.
How can, so if it's limited edition and it's marketed in that kind of sense, do you have fundraisers? Do you have conferences where Matt could auction this off at? You know, is there cafes that distribute this kind of thing where in Chichester where they could, you know, have them on display to sell? Is it Waterstones? Is it?
It would be. I mean, I would see it's totally not my thing. I would see, you know, limited edition run of 1,000 selling for £30 each, and aiming at that market, which wouldn't be anything that we have access to because we're kind of cafes and libraries and stuff like that. But you know, I was going to use the term nouveau riche, but rich people living up in London who have front rooms that look like that. That's where it would be. The only idea that I would have would be to approach someone like Wiley's, who are based in Chichester. It's a local problem. Chichester's one of the highest rough sleeper counts. You're donating any profits to charity, so it's a tax write-off for them. And how good does it look for a publisher like Wiley to say we've done a limited edition run of 500 art high-end coffee books, so that they benefit in lots of different ways, and the cost of producing that is negligible considering they make thousands of books a day.
It looks so good for them.
And tax write-off for them.
What, because charity?
Because it's for a charity, it's a not-for-profit, so they can offset the cost of making it against their tax bill.
Maybe put me off. Either way, it's getting.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think there's that side of things to consider. Any other questions?
Just one at the moment. If it's a collaborative art project between you and other people, isn't it quite exclusive to those who can't collaborate high-end level work exclusively, you know, if they're not artistic in that way? Is it going to be purely visual, or will there be stories or poetry or anything? You know, not everyone has those artistic tendencies that someone's going to pay £30 for.
Definitely.
So it might be quite exclusive to those who can't express themselves that way.
Yes, that's.
How can we reach out to those?
I haven't. That's actually a really good question. So I haven't quite worked out if I'm going to take plain paper or if I'm going to take paper that has my designs already on it. Because if you know what I mean, like a different design could link up to a different image amazingly, and the same vice versa. So it's a very good. I'm not too sure basically what I'm gonna do for that.
Need to think quick.
Mm.
Okay, we need to move on then.
Yeah.
Thanks ever so much, Matt.
The thing with high-end art, I could be just